You know, I really couldn't have asked for a better Christmas present than what Kraut and Tea delivered to the internet. Kraut and Tea, a prominent skeptic that you might have heard of, managed to completely immolate the movement. It has come out that Kraut and Tea, along with many notable members of the skeptic community, including Thunderfoot, have been operating behind the scenes to try and dox and smear and endanger anybody whom they consider to be part of the alt-right. Came out that they were doing the exact same thing that the SJWs were doing with game journo pros during Gamergate. Came out that they were even reaching out towards SJW sources. It has come out that they have absolutely no principles and no standards, that they are skeptics merely because sitting back and taking a snarky attitude and saying you don't have enough proof is a very easy stance to take if you want to pretend to be an intellectual. If, on the other hand, you want to actually stand up for something and defend something and advocate for something, well, that requires the sort of intellectual minerals they just don't possess. It was Medicare that first pointed this out, way back in the Gamergate days. He was the one that pointed out that a lot of people were using the consumer protest merely for the sake of benefiting themselves, that they actually didn't have any investment in the movement itself, that they were just looking out for number one, trying to become relevant, growing their channels by making these same arguments that others had made before them. The skeptic movement is entirely premised on repeating the arguments of Richard Dawkins or of better thinkers, of better intellectuals than they themselves. And when that petered out, when Gamergate arose, they suddenly noticed a market for criticizing feminists. Something that had already been done perfectum. Guys like me, or Roosh, Aaron Clary, who, by the way, warned you about the alt-tots back in 2013, I believe. That all of this, we'd already done all of this. The original MGTOWs had done all of it, the MRAs had done all of it, but the skeptics now glommed onto it and used Gamergate as an excuse to grow their channels. It was no longer getting views, debating creationists or whomever. So they moved on to feminism. And they sucked the lifeblood out of Gamergate. And, Sargon of Akkad declared it to be a victory on the date that it failed. And then, when criticizing feminists ran out of steam, they went on to criticize the alt-right. Only this time, they were dealing with an intellectual foe who had actually done their homework. Now, of course, I'm sure my viewership knows, I had quite a bit of betrayal and backstabbing from these people back during the Gamergate days. First, I had Thunderfoot decide to go after me for no particular reason aside from the fact that his father had just died and he needed something to distract himself. What better to do than go and smear and lie about somebody that was smaller than him on the internet, so that he could feel good about himself? So he went and called me a Holocaust denier because the SJWs had just done that to him a month before. Again, the skeptics are nothing if not creative. Then I had Sargon of Akkad. He put his finger into the wind, saw that Thunderfoot was attacking me, so he jumped on the bandwagon. Only to have Thunderfoot attack him a couple of years later. But all of this is finally getting out there into the light what these people are. They are intellectual milquetoasts. Okay? Middleweights. They repeat others' arguments. They steal others' arguments and then take credit for them. They are after the popularity. They don't make arguments out of a place of conviction or of genuine intellectual curiosity or investigation or true skepticism. What they do is they take the easy stance, the popular stance. What these people are the little weenie that sides with the bully in high school so that they don't get picked on and so that they can claim that they're one of the cool kids. So they never challenge you, the audience. They don't put the work in to try and create a coherent worldview. This is why you have the classical liberal Sargon making Marxist arguments half the time. These people are just egoistic, cheap pretenders. You know, the only confusing part is how none of them got into the mainstream media. Maybe they're just not good looking enough. But no, they're absolute garbage. They're nothing but flack. They're nothing but muddying of the water. They repeat what others have said without truly understanding what the others were saying, and they go after socially easy targets. They beat the dead horse. Yes, creationism is dumb, and they go and beat that dead horse. Then they find a new dead horse to beat. Yes, Anita Sarkeesian has no frickin' argument, so they go and attack her. But wherever they go, they suck up the lifeblood. They are out there purely for the money and for the ego. And so what this boils down to, folks, is I hope this is a wake-up call. That so many people followed these individuals in the skeptic community, took what they said at face value without questioning it deeper, only for everybody to now see them for the nasty little backstabbing creeps that they really are. I hope this is a wake-up call. Because with anybody whom you follow, the first lesson a historian needs to understand is that all historians are writing with their own contemporary bias. That when you are reading something, you need to ask, who wrote this history? Where are they coming from? What are their assumptions? Ask yourself, Clarice, what is the nature of this man? Why does he do the things he does? With anybody out there, politicians, intellectuals, entertainers, especially entertainers, ask, what are they? What is the nature of them? Try and see the man who espouses the ideology. And if, upon understanding that man, having a grasp of who he is, his virtues and his vices, his skills, his talents, and his flaws, then you can put into context what his words are. And if all of that tells a good story overall, then, you found somebody worth listening to. If you find somebody with a mean personality, a small personality, with petty goals, with vindictiveness in their heart, and the intellectual understanding of a mayfly, you may want to back off from that person. Because even if they tell you things that are true, well, it's truth that's being told for the wrong reasons. Go with God, folks, and be careful what you let into your head. You are the average of the 5 closest people to you. So be selective about whom you come close to. Deus Volt. This is Aurini out.